Oh, it's on! Let's go! Welcome to the Lights, Camera, Action Entertainment Reviews Podcast.
Let's track this from the beginning. We start with something pure. Something exciting. Then, deal with something new. Yeah. Told you. Okay so far? You like it? I'm feeling it. Yeah. Why stop there?
Our Marvel Cinematic Universe retrospective begins.
This is it. This is the path I started us on.
On this episode, we will be discussing and reviewing Marvel's Phase 1.
Our very strength invites challenge. Challenge incites conflict.
This episode will contain spoilers.
Conflict breeds catastrophe. The thing isn't beautiful because it lasts.
I am inevitable. And I am Iron Man. What a sweet-ass run it's been. Epic forces of darkness and light. What a world. Universe now.
And now, here are your hosts for this retrospective, Mike Winkler, Alistair Englehart, Daniel English, and Jeremy Larson. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Lights, Camera, Action retrospective. I am here with the three gentlemen yet again, Alistair, Jeremy, and Dan. Well, guys, we are 2 weeks beyond the Star Wars retrospective, and now we've moved on to the epic saga of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. 23 films. Yikes. Quite the interesting thing to do here. But, yeah, so tonight we're going to do Phase 1, which is Iron Man, Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, Thor, Captain America, and, of course, The Avengers.
Who are they?
That's a good question, Al. Who are they? Who are they indeed?
So I'm going to throw out there that we should start with The Incredible Hulk, and then we can do what Marvel did and throw it out and disregard it for the rest of our podcast.
The thing is that that's a really good point to make.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really matter throughout the entire history anymore.
It's like apart from Thunderbolt Ross, they don't really connect to it hardly at all. And that's a question I'll probably ask you guys is the Hulk connected to the Incredible Hulk? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that they ever go into his origin from anything outside of the Incredible Hulk. And I just don't know if that movie's technically canon or not.
Well, the thing is, it technically is because they do have a after credit scene in the Incredible Hulk, where Tony Stark shows up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he shows up and he's like, "It seems like you got a little problem."
Yeah, that's actually I'm reading something right here. It says that's the first indication of continuity is that end scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I recognize that when it was made, they considered it. But given the fact that we see the Hulk and I don't know. It's just there's nothing in that. Well, okay, it's probably a digital rights issue too, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they can only have Hulk in movies, but not a Hulk titled movie, which is why we only see him in Avengers titles and Thor titles.
Right.
I think so.
What's confusing about this whole thing, because when Marvel started, of course, Iron Man came out. It was Paramount that made Iron Man. And then Universal made The Incredible Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe Iron Man 2 was still made by Paramount. It's kind of confusing how it all works because Captain America was Paramount. I don't think it really was officially until Avengers 1 where the Disney transition was kind of underway. So most of Phase 1 is made by either Paramount or Universal. Now, I think Universal had owned the Incredible Hulk rights because they also made the Eric Bana one.
Yeah.
So
God, what a terrible movie.
Oh, that had to be the most indie-ish comic book movie I've ever seen, and it's so melodramatic. It's not even funny.
It is.
What's so funny is I just went back and watched it within the last 6 months, and I did not remember it being like an art film.
Yeah.
Why would you subject yourself to that sort of punishment?
Hey,
Yeah.
I saw that in theaters with my dad. We were excited to see the Hulk on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember liking it. And that's the other thing too, is I think it's a little bit unfair to go back to these movies and rate them having seen, the generation replete with modern, high-tech, fast-paced superhero movies. Because Iron Man 1, I mean, rewatching it, the pacing is amazing.
Yeah,
the way it jumps from the two storylines. Oh, man. Very good.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, too, is that, like Iron Man came out the same year The Dark Knight did. And, of course, The Dark Knight set a whole different bar in superhero movies.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of comic book movies since The Dark Knight have tried to somewhat duplicate that. It's kind of the mistakes that the DC universe has made by making Superman dark and then Ben Affleck going all super Batman dark. Basically, Zack Snyder's Ultimate Vision is like he was trying to duplicate what Christopher Nolan had done. And you can't do that.
Yeah.
You got to make the series your own. And Snyder was just too busy trying to duplicate that. But Marvel, I mean, considering living in The Dark Knight and Batman Begins and all that shadow, they did a fantastic job making it their own and creating a worthwhile and worthy superhero, Ultimate Saga series.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think in terms of trailblazing, I think Iron Man did a couple of things that I found to be really important for the whole series. And the first of which happens at the very end of the movie when he says, "I am Iron Man." And essentially what I think it did was it got rid of the superhero movie trope where every movie has to dedicate 30 to 45 minutes to who is it? It's not me. And all these,
Kentism.
I have to protect my family.
Yeah, and silly voices. And so apart from Spider-Man, we don't really have to deal with that in Marvel. We can watch superhero flicks without watching the whole their closest friend doesn't know and they started to figure it out. So I really appreciated that.
It gets rid of that whole trope is just so overdone before this that it's a breath of fresh air to come into something going, oh, here's a plot line that we're already bored of that we don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do y'all think that was such a prominent theme in superhero stories for so long? The idea of a secret identity or anonymity.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you look at the old Superman movies, and most of them had to do with saving Lois Lane from some sort of catastrophe that she got herself into.
Yeah. I think it probably practically is a means of protecting the viewer from always having to watch the person's loved ones come under attack, first and foremost. But then secondarily, there's probably some interpersonal schism metaphor to, donning the cape and everything.
Well, how many superhero movies do you know, too, where at the end of, especially the first flick, where the person reveals that they are that person, I am Iron Man. I mean, you never see a Batman or a Superman movie saying, hey, I'm Superman or I'm Batman. I mean,
Right.
I think, to be honest with you, looking at other superhero movies before Iron Man, I cannot think of another superhero movie where an identity was revealed that soon or that quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I don't think I can either.
Mm-mm.
Well, and then you also got to look at Iron Man as a character. He is under a watchful eye a lot of the time anyways. So I think in his mind, people were going to put it together some form or another. While as in like the Batman films, it's uncanny that some of these secondary characters don't realize that it is Batman
Yeah.
and Bruce Wayne. They're the
Although
same person.
I gotta say, suspension of disbelief. I'm totally okay accepting it as just a quirk. You know, the same way I can think these people are kicking guys through windows and buildings. You know what? If a little mask is all it takes to disguise someone's identity, I can play that game. I'm okay with that. Yeah, as a total aside, but the CW Supergirl series plays with that idea a little bit because Cara Danvers literally just takes her glasses off, just like Superman.
Yep.
So the second thing I think Iron Man did really cool, and I didn't know the inspiration until this most recent watch through, is the Iron Man heads up display, like looking into his helmet. Apparently there was a lot of nervousness around that, technically speaking, how they would get it to work. And the guy, I got to look his name up, John Nelson, was the visual effects supervisor. He got the idea from 2001: A Space Odyssey, when the reflection, when the lights from the computer were reflecting off Dave's face. And so I thought that was just kind of a cool tidbit.
Oh gosh, I love the heads-up display.
But yeah, it's so creative.
It's badass.
Who doesn't want a heads-up display just right in front of your face?
Yeah.
It's coming. Google Glass, first attempt.
Oh no.
Just wait for it. Either Apple or Google will make something with it. It's coming.
Yeah.
I'd give it at least 3 years.
Maybe 2. Who knows? I found an interesting tidbit online, too. I don't know if you guys knew this, and I was reading it now, too, that back in 1990, Universal acquired the rights to the movie, and later on, they wanted Quentin Tarantino to write and direct it.
Iron Man?
Yeah.
Wow.
Could you imagine a Quentin Tarantino Iron Man?
What would that have changed?
I mean, a lot more blood, I'm sure.
Rated R, double R.
Although,
yeah,
in the scene,
dropping F-bombs left
there would have been a lot more torture in those caves at the beginning.
I was just gonna say, when Obadiah, is that his name? Zebediah? Obadiah. Obadiah Stane is yelling at that lab guy who's like, he's like, Tony Stark made this in a cave with a box of scraps. And the guy's like, well, I'm not Tony Stark. I felt like if it were a Tarantino movie, he'd be like, effing right you aren't.
He probably would have stuck him in the machine and blood would have just swirled everywhere.
Yeah, I do love Tarantino, but I don't think that would have served the universal nature of it. I think they're so popular because they're so accessible.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Tarantino doing any Marvel movie. There's no way it would ever fit. It would be like inserting Deadpool kind of into this universe. Deadpool's great, but he would never fit in this cinematic universe the right way.
Yeah.
I think.
Do you all see? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jeremy.
No, you started before I.
I was just curious. So we've had Deadpool and now we've had Logan. Do you all see them maintaining the PG-13 as kind of the standard moving forward for Marvel?
Marvel?
Yeah.
Yes, I think Disney moves super slowly when it comes to making concessions like that. I just don't think we'll see it, because let's not forget all of these guys. One of the guys that helped fund Iron Man, Ari, I forget his last name, but
Ari Avid.
Yeah, Ari Avid. He was a co-producer on the Iron Man movies, and then I think he did the Spider-Man movies too, but he's like CEO of a Toy Biz company. So they're really just trying to not only make the movies that do well, but they also want the toys and the merchandise and all the parallel stuff. And so the wider your audience, the more I think all those adjacent industries benefit.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm sure it's a win-win.
Yeah, Deadpool 3, I know that like Ryan Reynolds and them still want to make it. But see, the whole Disney thing is why it's being held up. Disney keeps saying they want to make it, but I think they're afraid that if they put a Marvel tag on their movie and they see it's R-rated, Disney's afraid of losing their quote-unquote good image, you know. But it's not really right because the fact is that if Marvel, Disney likes to say that Marvel and Lucasfilm are different from them, but they're not making their movies like they are different from them. They are throwing in the same themes, the same humor, the same way of making their movies. If they want to differentiate themselves from each other, then they need to start making the movies the way they should be made instead of forcing on that Disney image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this of the Marvel movies, though, generally speaking, they have original plot lines.
True.
Yeah.
Or at least they're not just rehashing stuff in their same canon.
True.
And that's what I liked about all these movies. And everyone can go like, oh, you didn't follow the comics or anything like that. Well, that's because then you'd be seeing the same things as in the comics. It would make it boring. It would make it stale. It wouldn't have gotten off the ground as it did. You're introducing new ideas, new characters, new ways that villains could be portrayed in these films.
Yeah, I don't really need faithfulness to the storylines in the comics. What I do like is when they communicate a knowledge of and respect for the existing canon. Even in like simple little call outs and stuff. And admittedly, I don't really know the comic canon that well. Any experience I had with comics was DC. I did a little bit of Spider-Man reading back in the day. But
I think there's too many comics for you to actually keep up with everything.
Yeah, that's probably true too.
Yeah.
But back to Iron Man, as a movie, I remember when this movie came out, at the time, I know when they were making it, the whole universe thing was kind of a little bit of an idea, but they took it one movie at a time. Of course, the little hint at the end of Iron Man with Nick Fury and the Avengers, they had this plan, but I can't really think of any other actor that could have played Tony Stark as perfect as Robert Downey Jr.
No, not ever.
No way, no how.
And they said Tom Cruise was
wow, no.
in the running for that.
I wanted to see Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh God.
Jake Gyllenhaal?
You wanted to see Mysterio play Tony Stark?
You know what?
Homer Hickam.
Yeah.
He's a good actor. He's a good actor. Yeah, definitely. He probably could have pulled it off.
Yeah. I like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
Oh,
and before we get too far from Iron Man, as in we haven't transitioned from it at all, but Pepper Potts, Iron Man Pepper Potts is my favorite relationship in all the Marvel universe.
The most developed too.
Yeah.
And this is going to be something that I applaud Marvel through the whole time we talk about it, is the thought that they give to developing all of these things. And throughout the phase one, we have very unique characters who have their own writing style. They have their own flaws and pros. They all come together, and it's not like they're morphing into the leader of each of the movies. It's these individual characters that exist through the collaborative movies. And I just that makes Avengers so much fun for me, is to see all of these individual characters maintain their identity.
I think it's flawless.
Yeah, and generally speaking, I'd say until I think it's Age of Ultron or Civil War, somewhere around phase 2, where they start to, or phase 3 it is, when I think they start to forget the arcs that happen in the solo stories.
Yeah. Well, the great thing too that they do really well is, like you said, the Pepper Potts relationship. You look at a lot of the other character relationships in Marvel, No other one's developed as well as those two, especially when you go from Iron Man 1 to what happens at the end of Endgame. Mm-hmm. There is no other relationship that you would see in the other movies where you would feel the heartbreak that Pepper feels now being a widow with her daughter, you know, and that makes Tony's death that much more difficult at the end because, you know, let's think of the other relationships in the Marvel movies. I mean, there really isn't too many romantic relationships.
Wait,
really think of.
What?
The what?
Whose death?
Tony's? Who did I say?
You did. I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. I thought I said it the wrong way.
I hadn't seen it yet.
Did we give the spoiler alert?
Come on, Al.
Hey, like I said with the Star Wars one, if you haven't seen them yet, you probably shouldn't be listening to this one because it's spoiler.
Don't you even have that in your introduction there? This will be spoiled.
I do. It says this podcast will contain spoilers.
That's good. Yeah. Sorry, I derailed it all.
No, you're all right. You're all right.
Joke.
But yeah, I mean, think of it this way. I mean, there's not really many relationships in the Marvel universe. I mean, you have Star-Lord and Gamora, but that's
Thor and Portman.
Later.
Yeah, that's so underdeveloped as of right now, and that whole thing is.
Yeah, I that is I think my least favorite because it just doesn't flow as naturally as Tony and Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
Which one's your least favorite? Thor and
Natalie.
Jane. Because you don't see her barely see her.
Yeah.
Even when you do, it's almost as bad as the relationship between Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen in the Star Wars prequels.
Oh.
Like that is what I compare it to.
Different podcast.
I have heard that Natalie's coming back. I have heard that Natalie's coming
back.
I have too. Yep. So she'll have a chance to redeem herself.
So what's interesting to me about all of the relationships, I completely agree. Iron Man and Pepper Potts is the best, I think also because it's the longest running. True. I think also because they just developed it so carefully. I mean, even throughout Iron Man 1 and 2, they're never just pouring on like, oh, we're in love. It's always about the way that they interact, kind of quibble, and my favorite element of it is that the only person that can hand Tony Stark something directly is Pepper Potts. That does a whole lot of lifting for me. But yeah, I think the closest one after that for me is probably the friendship between Natasha and Hawkeye. But yeah, Gamora Star-Lord, I didn't dislike it, but I hated Star-Lord so much because of his Infinity War.
Yeah, that moment in Infinity War still angers me because he let his anger get the best of him. They could have got that dang thing off Thanos, and they could have avoided everything.
Yeah,
he single-handedly is to blame for it.
Yeah,
but it was supposed to happen. It was supposed to happen.
In the words of Stephen Strange, it was meant to happen.
Time Stone Ex Machina or something like that.
Yeah.
So, Iron Man 1, on to Hulk. Honestly, I think Hulk is done really well. And if it weren't siloed so strictly where no one really escapes except for a recast Hulk and a Thunderbolt Ross, I think it's a pretty good movie.
I do not like Betsy. I don't. I feel like the chemistry wasn't there between her and Norton. Like it didn't feel nice. It felt forced. Mm-hmm. Like there has to be a romance, right?
Yeah, I was just bummed because the whole like she's married or in a serious relationship. She's at least living with this guy, and I'm so happy that they're like running off to a hotel and and the guy is so weirdly supportive about it all. Yeah, I just not a fan of that relationship either. But
the thing that angers me too is that like I watch the Eric Bana one where Jennifer Connelly played Betsy Ross. She was such a better Betsy Ross than Liv Tyler. And I almost wish they would have brought Jennifer Connelly back to play Betsy Ross because I think that she just would have been better. She's a better actor, number one. And number two, I think she would have had more chemistry with Edward Norton. I don't know why. I just feel like they might have. But I don't know. That you're right though. That is a huge flaw in the movie that I just don't think that relationship works at all.
They just made her too whispery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's the same in this movie as in pretty much every other movie that she's in. Examples: Lord of the Rings and what was it? Armageddon. Both of the you're watching the exact same.
Whoa.
Don't hate on Arwen.
Hey, she was the thing I hated about Lord of the Rings. Remember that?
I do remember that. And you're totally in your right mind this time. As a Betty Ross, she's too whispery. She's too, fickle. Like, where was this guy? Now she's going to leave her husband, and then he runs off, and the fact that it so conveniently starts pouring rain when she goes out the back of the pizza shop, it just feels lame.
Like a scene out of the freaking Notebook.
Yeah, I just, and trust me, I love romantic comedies. I like a good love story, but it just was. I don't know.
Maybe it's just I've never been a Liv Tyler fan.
Yeah,
you're preaching, man. I agree. I agree.
Saddens me.
I like her. I just don't like her as Betty Ross.
I will say I like her better in Lord of the Rings, but I still see the exact same character portrayed in every single movie. She's the
but in this one, she doesn't have pointy ears, Jeremy.
It's like how you like a $1 burger from Burger King a little bit better than a McDonald's $1 burger.
Slightly, right? Just slightly.
So another beef I had was I did not like the way Abomination looked. One of the, I think, valid criticisms of Iron Man 1 and 2 that my sister actually said was he just keeps fighting people in a suit like his. And I was like, you know what? That's pretty fair. As far as variety goes, Iron Man fights Ironmonger, and then he fights Whiplash, and they're both just using like a chest arc reactor technology. Yeah. I think Abomination looks just like Hulk. I mean, he doesn't look just like Hulk, but it's kind of boring in the way.
He's Hulk with spikes.
Yeah,
sure. Essentially, yeah.
And the idea of Abomination is a great idea, but the execution of Abomination was not so stellar.
And I feel like I don't think they had completely decided how powerful Hulk was supposed to be. Like they didn't understand quite how, like just the way he lifts the Humvee. Yeah, it was easy, but at first I don't know. I feel like Hulk gets more powerful throughout the time that the movies age.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was one last thing about Hulk. I can't remember right now.
See, I like the movie, except I feel like I have more to complain about it than like about it, but I don't dislike it.
I agree.
Because it's one of those things where, like, I think I'm frustrated that I know we had an actor change and it's still continuity, but there's never anything brought up from that movie in future Marvel movies. Nothing at all, except General Ross.
Actually.
What?
There was a reference by Ruffalo in Avengers.
Which one?
He said, last time I was in New York, I wrecked Harlem.
That's true.
You don't remember that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So there's that one. But General Ross is there, but like General Ross doesn't have much interaction with Hulk, and you would think that he would, considering how much he had in the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
You know, and then also number 2, and this is a question I have for you guys. You guys remember the ending of the Eric Bana one?
Oh gosh, no. You're assuming I was able to get all the way through it last time I tried to watch it.
Fair enough. The ending stayed fresh in my mind. So at the end of the movie, he goes into hiding in South America, right? This movie starts there. So to me, I almost feel like this movie is a sequel to that movie.
Okay.
They never say that it is, but it feels like it is because it picks up right where that last one left off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like a sequel.
I could buy that.
Yeah.
So the scene where Edward Norton is sitting with that Hickson Gracie, the MMA, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, and he's like training up his control over, the Hulk.
Yeah.
At the end, of Incredible Hulk, we have Edward Norton presumably bringing on a transition at will, changing just his eye color. But then we have, Mark Ruffalo not totally out of control, but it's almost like he's in control of transitioning for the most part. But once he transitions,
it's Hulk all the way.
Can't quite control it. And so I like where that ends up, but I think it's an uneven, like, I don't know. It's just the pathway along controlling Hulk seems.
Yeah, scattered.
I think it just makes the Hulk very confusing, and the Marvel universe kind of at Avengers, the Hulk becomes more of a relatable character and becomes more adaptable. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, but it seems like it gets better at that point from then on, instead of dealing with Eric Bana, Ed Norton, then sudden transition to Avengers. I feel like that's all. I feel like I could go back and watch the entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and not watch the Incredible Hulk, and I'd be okay with it.
You actually could. There's nothing really in the Incredible Hulk that really warrants having to watch it within that, because again, like I said, there's nothing directly referenced. Even General Ross is not really directly referenced to the events in that movie.
No.
So it
and
makes
don't they hint at a villain with that scientist that gets the gamma polluted blood dripped on
we
his
never
head?
got it. We never got it.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. It's just a separate thing.
Yeah. It's so loosely involved in the universe that it can easily be omitted, and you would not miss really a thing.
Yeah.
What were the rays that created Captain America? Was that gamma rays?
No, they weren't. No, it was
separate.
Gosh, I don't remember what it was called. You mean the stuff they
let me see.
Shined on him while he was transforming?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can't remember. I was just curious if there was a connection there, but it sounds like it was something different.
No, it was gamma.
Okay, here we go. So
Vita rays.
Vita rays.
Oh, Vita rays. Everything's some sort of ray.
Different from gamma rays.
Gamma rays, Vita rays, Elsa rays.
What is a Vita ray?
Let's look it up.
It's a real thing.
They harness the power of the sun.
Oh gosh. Oh, okay.
The sun god.
Electromagnetic radiation with a specific wavelength that has stabilizing properties. So it was it was just being blasted onto Steve Rogers while the serum was in him to activate certain properties.
Okay,
I see. Huh.
But back to what we were talking about before this started, Dan, about why Edward Norton, that whole thing that went on.
Yeah.
Okay, the major thing is that he has an uncredited writing part of writing an Incredible Hulk. He actually helped write the movie, but he did not want to be credited for it. So when they were editing the movie, they had this 2.5, 2 hour and 40 minute cut that he really wanted in the movie, because he said that it fleshed out Hulk even more and this and that. And Marvel came in and they didn't want the movie to be that long. They wanted it under 2 hours. They wanted the movie to move at a brisk pace. And he fought and he fought and he fought, and Marvel gave him a lot of pushback. So he got really, really pissed off at Marvel to the point that he left the role to get back at them, essentially.
Yeah, that's interesting. When I watched, I saw, I forget the actor's name, but The Wire?
Yeah.
The guy that whistles in The Wire. I don't even remember his name in The Wire.
Shoot, I don't know.
Omar. His name is Omar in The Wire.
Okay.
Hold on. We're getting there. So he's played by Michael K. Williams. So there's a scene in Harlem where you see this extra and it's Michael K. Williams. And I'm like, well, that's an awfully expensive extra. But then you go to the deleted scenes, and apparently that was some setup for a potential future branch of him. And so they got rid of that. And so I could see that there's a ton of stuff that they cut. But
yeah, see, it says Norton and Letelier, which is the director, he said he disputed with the producers over the final runtime. They wanted it to be 2 hours and 15 minutes, while the producers wanted the film to be under 2 hours. This was made public, and rumors spread that Norton made it clear he won't cooperate with publicity plans if he's not happy with the final product. So he dismissed it, and Marvel, Universal, and I refused to let it happen about cutting it to the way he wanted it, and he split ways.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder if he regrets that.
I sure as hell would.
I think he does.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Because his career has bottomed out since then. I mean, he's like in nothing now.
But I will say, my opinion, I think Ruffalo is a really good Hulk. And I think he's the better choice.
Absolutely. I mean, he should have been it from day one.
Sure. I'm torn about Mark Ruffalo, not because of his performance, but I feel like after his health issues flare up, his speaking is noticeably weird and different, especially in Thor 3.
Interesting.
And then I wonder if that's why in Infinity War he has such a small part. But I mean, you can't factor that in, I guess. But yeah, it was an interview, I think, that that he did when Avengers 2 came out. This is Edward Norton saying retrospectively that he chose not to continue in the role because he wanted to branch out with his career and he didn't want to do too iconic of a character. And he said something like, once you put a suit on like that, it's hard for other people to take it off.
Yeah, no, that's bogus. He's really trying to justify it.
What's he doing now? Oh, he's
nothing.
Working at a library.
At least nothing important. Or nothing
working at a library.
Yeah. I wish I would have been Hulk. I wish I would have been Hulk.
He has an uncredited role in Alita Battle Angel.
Uncredited.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Have you guys seen Alita? I don't want to give it away.
I have not.
No,
I want
haven't.
to, but I haven't.
Don't spoil it like you spoiled Tony's death for me.
All I'll tell you is that he shows up at the end. That's all I'll tell you. I do know that now.
Well,
Great.
That's all I'll tell you. I won't tell you the context of it.
2 hours wasted.
Cool.
Yeah, another thing about Hulk that annoys me is the battle scene on the campus is very much like this, then that. It just feels so much less coordinated with Ross saying, "Where's the 50 cals?" And then they try that and they're like, "Okay, you're up." And then the Abomination guy goes in and then he's like, "Where's the helicopter?" And just calling stuff in like one by one by one. Every time I rewatch, I'm like, this just feels.
You gotta. I honestly think that in that movie, and I know it's a movie, but I feel like Ross would have been stripped of his title and like removed from military service with how incredibly reckless he was with military personnel and weaponry on a college campus. And there were still people on that campus. You're shooting 50 cals into, old buildings and everything. What good is that going to do? And then you agree to do another serum onto the Abomination guy, and he becomes out of control. You lose control of him. I don't think there was any punishment for General Ross, and it bugs the crap out of me.
He had to have killed people at the campus. He had to have.
He's still a prominent military figure in later on in the MCU.
Well, he gets an upgrade.
Huh?
He becomes like the Secretary of Defense, doesn't he?
Another reason to not watch Incredible Hulk. You don't watch it. You don't know that he did any of that stuff, and it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you going to say, Al? I know you're going to come up with something.
No, I have nothing to say about that.
Well, again, that's why I said it's not whole lot of positivity to say about this movie, and I don't dislike it in any way. And
that's what's so weird about it for me.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it's just
it just doesn't fit the universe.
No, it feels like its own movie.
It's an alternate universe of the MCU.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
It's the Veil of the Force part of the MCU.
The multiverse.
Oh my gosh. Right.
The Veil of the MCU.
What happened? Did General Ross jump in the Veil of the Force and to save himself from being killed by the Hulk?
It's another man named Bruce Banner who happens to be a scientist who falls into the gamma rays. There's multiple Bruce Banners.
So Bruce Banner is actually Ross.
And it's the Edward Norton version. Right.
It is a shame, though, that there's not Hulk standalones, because I feel like I remember Hulk Planet, an animated movie where Loki separates the consciousness of Hulk and Banner.
Okay.
And it's just Hulk is this insane villain to deal with.
No soul, essentially.
Yeah, without any tempering of Banner's intellect at all.
Yep.
I just think it'd be cool. I always liked Hulk.
I would watch a Hulk Planet movie.
Yeah,
for sure.
Thor Ragnarok kind of hinted at it a little bit.
Right.
But they didn't quite scratch the whole surface of it.
Yeah.
So
maybe later.
It's possible.
Well, the thing is, now that he's Professor Hulk, I don't see him changing, that would be a de-evolution of the Hulk.
Yeah, but if Loki did it, if he somehow split.
That's true. The alternate Loki is still alive, and there's that Loki TV series. So if he comes back somehow, I guess that could be feasible. That could happen.
Yeah.
It's a possible future, but that's a long ways down the road, and I don't think that Ruffalo is going to be in any state to play the Hulk again.
No, he's already like in his mid to late 50s already. He's already pushing almost 60, so it'd be kind of tough for that.
But anyways, should we move on to another movie?
Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2's next.
I was just going to say, let's get on to the Avengers I actually like. But no, let's do Iron Man. Iron Man 2. I just have a bunch of questions as to why he needs the reactor.
As who needs the reactor? As Tony does?
Yeah, so he's got
because he didn't have that procedure done yet. He gets the procedure done in the third movie.
Right, I understand that, but I wonder, there must be at least a one-line brushing off of it. If he's killing himself with palladium poisoning, and all it takes is an operation, why doesn't he just get the operation? I mean, I understand he has to find the new element and he has to, upgrade the suit and have the triangle one for the number 3. But with all his resources, why couldn't he just...
We're talking about Tony Stark. He is a man who loves the spotlight. He is super smart, but also super arrogant and all full of himself.
So he's going to kill himself?
He's bullheaded.
I think, no, when he realizes there's a problem, I think the timeline really speeds up at that point. So there isn't much time in between to do the things that are of vital importance to his own health.
Okay, time I think is an okay explanation.
I think it's because he likes the smoothies.
Oh my gosh.
hey, Al, I feel like this. I think that's like the it's sticky moment. You always have an it's sticky moment, and that's it.
The smoothies.
That's the one. That's the
smoothies. The Iron Man smoothies.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
We need an it's sticky moment in every phase of the MCU. That's what we need.
Yep.
Right.
We got our phase 1 smoothies.
So this one is really cool. It was hard to find, but when Justin Hammer is sitting with Ivan Vankov, and he's telling him, I have the means, you have the brains, you need my means. Ivan says this really long phrase in Russian, And for some reason, it's so hard to find a translation of it. I held my phone up to it, and it caught part of it and said, "If they kill me, I won't. You'd better live in peace." And I was like, man, what the heck is he saying here? Turns out I found in some Russian language learning blog people were posting about Iron Man. He says, "If I get killed, do not wake me. It is better to die than to live in your world."
Gosh.
And I thought, that's kind of cool. Because I always wondered, they didn't put subtitles on it. And then he's like, "Do you not speak English?" And he's like, "Very good, man." And you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Pretty powerful line.
Yeah. Well, it was just fun to hunt down what the heck that meant because they didn't caption it anywhere.
That was worth it because that's a pretty damn good line.
Yeah. I will say, with the Iron Man movies, I think my favorite villains are the ones in Iron Man 2. I like the Ivan with Justin Hammer kind of team up against Tony Stark thing.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
I think Justin Hammer is funny.
Oh yeah, Justin Hammer was the funny while it was like super serious tones with Ivan.
Yeah.
But when it came to like, I'm looking at the enemies in general. You're looking at Obadiah from the first movie. I felt like he could have done something different than just make a bigger Iron Man suit. I didn't like his match of villainy. I don't know why, but it just
I liked Obadiah.
Well, look at the parallels between Iron Man's ending and Hulk's ending. They both had duplicates of basically themselves as the enemy.
Right.
Yeah.
Bigger.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so I liked Obadiah Stane as a villain because, I mean, just think of the first time you watched it. I don't know if there's something just inherently disarming about Jeff Bridges, but I wasn't a comic guy, so I did not see that betrayal coming until Pepper found it out at the computer. And then, of course, it brings me to another blaring question I have why doesn't he just take the thumb drive from her? Like, he knows, he asks for the paper, he knows, kind of goes back to the screen and, like, sees that she downloaded the files, and he's like, crud.
Because he's Jeff Bridges. He's the dude, man.
Yeah, right.
I thought Jeff Bridges, he's so great. I love the character. I just didn't like the overall scheme.
I think the Vankov one is very compelling because it begins the Marvel tradition of villains that actually give you pause when you're like, well, obviously they're still extreme, they're still wrong at the end of the day, but it's the first instance of a villain that we have where we say, you know what, he's not.
I can see how he became that way.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of empathize with his position, saying like, oh yeah, okay, I mean, you're wrong, but you're not just some caricature of evil like, say, Obadiah Stane is, who just wants to make money. Like, he's just a caricature of greed and corruption.
Well, what's great about him being the villain too is that do you realize too that this is kind of the beginning of the running theme of everything going back to Tony's father. It is always the running team. Vanko's history was with Tony's father. I mean, and look at all the way to Endgame. It's about Tony's father. It just seems the running thing through it all is about Tony and his father, just like it was in Civil War. You know, with his feud with Captain America over that whole ordeal. And yeah, I agree that Vanko is probably the best Iron Man villain because of the personal conflict with Tony and his background with his family.
That makes a lot more sense. I can get behind that.
I like the Mandarin. That's Iron Man 3, though.
Oh, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we'll get into that one.
Yeah, we'll
I'll
wait.
hold my tongue on that.
Oh, are you guys Iron Man 3 haters? Save it.
I'm saving it.
There's not many hates I'm going to have in the MCU, but I have some serious issues with that movie. Especially the ending. and where it all leads.
I think my favorite Justin Hammer part is when he asks his assistant to try and put the droid head on like a helmet when he's getting mad at Bankov.
Yeah.
He's like, "Can you put that?" And the guy's like holding it to his head.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. Do you guys ever hear the debate too? Everybody criticized Iron Man 2 for being, instead of being, was less of an Iron Man movie and more of a startup for the Avengers. That there was always that heavy criticism. I know when the movie came out that it was too much of an Avengers startup and not enough of an Iron Man film. Do you guys agree with that?
Iron Man 2?
Mm-hmm.
What threads do they pick up on?
Well,
The one-
the
the
incorporation of
Black
Nick
Widow.
Fury and Black Widow. Yeah.
I like it. I think it's fine as an Iron Man movie. I don't think it's too much of a Avengers plug. Not at all.
I never looked at it that way. Mm-mm.
Yeah, my only complaint, I thought they introduced Natasha perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it was totally in character when Iron Man's just like, I want one. But I do think that her and Fury together play almost like a Ex Machina plot where they're like, here's a syringe. Okay, the plot presumptions we were on before this moment are now taken care of, and we're moving on to stage 2 of the movie. It felt very like a plot device to reveal them and have them. But I don't know. I didn't hate it.
No, I thought it was smooth.
Yeah.
It took away the problem in a short term, but they needed to find a long-term solution. It wasn't right. It's like his freaking smoothies. That syringe was a temporary fix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, you said smoothies. I was looking at Alistair down there. I was waiting for him to say something.
Yeah, I will say of Phase 1,
Uh-huh.
Iron Man 2 is probably my second least favorite.
Right behind Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense, though.
I don't, and as far as the trilogy goes, I think Iron Man is the weakest trilogy.
I
How many trilogies do we have?
Agree with you.
Well,
Thor,
so
huh?
I guess I get. Oh yeah, I love the Thor trilogy. I'm going to defend Thor 2 to the death.
Oh no!
Dark-
Thank
Here we
you.
go.
Somebody
Elves?
defends it. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. First of all, I love Christopher Eccleston. Second of all, why are people so upset that we're introducing different themes and worlds and villains?
Yeah.
Hey, I had to hold my tongue for Iron Man 3. You can hold your tongue.
You're right. You're right. I got too excited. I think it's funny. Phase 2 is probably going to be more varied, but
Yes, it will.
Yeah, that's gonna be all over the place.
I think my favorite trilogy, and if we're talking about trilogies that started in Phase 1, would have to be Captain America or Thor.
Yes.
Because Captain America is definitely my favorite character,
Yeah,
but
I'm
the
with you.
story arc of Thor might be my favorite.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I also think Thor ends in a place where the next generation of Marvel movies picks up in stepping up the funny and like pairing even more dire and serious against even more clever and goofy.
Yeah.
Hey, nobody can talk badly against Thor. You know why? Because it's going to be the only one with 4 movies. The only one to have 4 movies.
Yeah, we'll see how Asgardians of the Galaxy goes, and then I'll see how I think about it.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see Jane's transition to becoming the new female Thor, how that's going to go, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, very curious for that.
I'm setting my bar super low so that I'm not disappointed.
I don't even know what to expect, so I'm just like,
I
throw it
don't.
at me.
Yeah, I don't.
Yep.
And I do know that I love Star-Lord and Thor interactions, so.
Yeah.
So
I'm
yeah,
glad-
so. Sorry, go ahead.
And I'm glad that the same director, I think I pronounce his name, Takia Wakatiti, I think his name is.
Yeah.
He's going to be doing the Thor 4, which I'm glad because I think Ragnarok was
it's stellar.
Great. It's just amazing. And Wakiti's actually writing and directing a Star Wars film too.
Cool. I'm down for that. I like him.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of this retrospective, are we going to do a ranking of all 23 films?
No.
No. At the end of each phase, we'll no. We can decide what our favorite or worst movie is overall, but no. Oh God, no. I mean, we're all going to agree that phase 2 is the weakest phase. We'll all probably agree with that.
Someone's piping up.
Two.
Okay, never mind.
Oh, never mind. Civil War starts phase 3.
So
you don't like Civil War?
So now you agree with my phase 2 opinion?
Sure.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Iron Man 3, Thor Dark World. I mean, Captain America is really strong. I think I like Guardians Volume 2 strictly over the first, almost as a replacement film, to be honest.
Really?
Oh, Guardians 2. Yeah, I like the storyline with Star-Lord's father. I think that's a really good storyline.
Yeah, cool. So Thor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Thor in Thor 1.
No. Thor in Thor 1 is frat boy Thor. Like
conceited.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. He's
gosh.
Just so stupid.
Overbearing.
The thing is, how old is Thor in?
You all didn't like that for the sake of the transformation?
I loved it for the sake of the transformation, but he's just so annoying. Although his jokes on Earth are hilarious. I love when he's wrestling in the hospital. I love when he's at the diner and he smashes his mug down. I really enjoy the humor in Thor. But yeah, he's so unwise.
And that's the thing, is that Thor in the first Thor movie is 1,000 years old. You'd think that 1,000 years old would give you enough wisdom to not act like
a child.
Yeah.
Spoiled child.
So, yeah.
Like, I can get the promise of becoming king is like, it can get to your head, but I felt like he was prepared for that. I don't feel like he would have gone down that sort of.
Mm-hmm.
You all feel like, knowing that he is 1,000 years old, that I'd say drastic changes in personality are a bit, and not even just limited to Thor 1, but even as we see who Thor becomes, but eventually by Ragnarok, he's quite different in terms of like that balancing of comedy and seriousness.
Yes,
very much so.
Do you feel like do you feel like that comes across as a bit contrived, since he's already 1,000 years old, that he changes in his personality that quickly?
So I think it's related to experience.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about the main things that he experiences before we witness him in Thor is pretty much just battle and acclaim. And so I think it's pretty easy to be spoiled having wielded Mjolnir your whole quote unquote adult life. And for the first time ever in Thor 1, he's without his powers. He's human, essentially. He experiences love for the first time. He had both his parents. He experiences loss for the first time. So failure, love, loss, and the taking away of all his powers, I think that would change you quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so because I do love the redemption arc. I just love the theme of him having to repent. I memean, he has to recognize how much it's his fault. Like when he asks Loki to come home when he's being held at that center, and he's not fighting for his own reputation any longer. He's very well aware that a lot of this is his fault.
I gotta say too, my ultimate, I think best friendship / family relationship in the whole cinematic universe. I just love Thor and Loki's relationship. It's just it's just so good, because the fact that Loki always finds a way to trick Thor, and Thor always falls for it up until Ragnarok, where he finally wises up like, you ain't doing this, or But they're just, their evolution of their whole relationship through the whole cinematic universe is just, I just love it. It's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I have a hard time coming around to Loki. Obviously, I'm saddened by the loss of him, or potentially whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like, but he did a lot of really terrible stuff.
Yeah.
Even in 2. I mean, in 2, for the most part, he works on everyone's side, but he's too much of a chaotic character for me.
He's so chaotic because he chooses the side he thinks is going to win. So he flips constantly. And that is why Loki is such he's a wild card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, would you guys blame Loki for their father's death, considering that he threw him in that rest home and then he ultimately ended up dying? Would you blame Loki for his death? I
don't think so. I don't think it's Loki's fault. I think it was a long time coming. I think Odin thought it was going to be coming way before that time.
I don't know.
I'm on the fence.
I don't think it's particularly his fault because Odin seems to be pretty fatalistic about it himself.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think his behavior is condemnable, and it could have very easily been the cause, even if cosmically it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they nailed Loki as Odin in Thor 3. I loved that.
Yeah, agreed.
That was so funny.
Oh, so Anthony Hopkins, in the scene where he's casting Thor out, and Loki interrupts to intercede for Thor, and Anthony Hopkins growls at him. I read somewhere that was ad-libbed, and that they just ended up loving it so much that they kept it in.
That's funny.
And to hear the characters talk about Anthony Hopkins and how he's such a presence was pretty cool to listen to.
Anthony Hopkins is a brilliant actor, and I cannot complain about his performance in any of the movies.
Yeah.
No, he's a legend. Very much so. I still can't believe he was in the last Transformers movie.
What?
Really?
Yeah, The Last Night.
Which one was that?
Was he inside Bumblebee?
7?
Wahlberg's last one.
Wahlberg's last one. So was that the one with T.J. Miller?
No, that's the fourth one.
And what's the number of the last one?
5.
Okay.
Not counting Bumblebee. Bumblebee would actually technically be 6.
Fourth one lost me. I hated it.
I think I left after the third one.
5's actually better than 4.
One that is the fourth one the one that's free on Amazon Prime?
The fourth one, in a nutshell, is where half of the movie is trying to get these precursor Transformers to fight on their behalf because their enemy is undefeatable. But in order to get them to fight on their behalf, they have to defeat them, which they do, and then they fight with them, and I don't know, it's crazy.
That one sounds like it wasn't even good enough to be free on Amazon Prime. I haven't seen that.
It's 2.5 hours. You might enjoy maybe 45 minutes of that 2.5 hours. No, the fifth one was actually a lot better than the fourth one. I actually liked the story in the fifth one. Well, comparing it to the fourth one, I guess it really wasn't that hard.
Mark Wahlberg and who else, I guess?
Yeah, I didn't even watch Mark Wahlberg.
Anthony Hopkins plays a pretty big part towards the middle. There's some kind of British chick. I've seen her in other things before, but I don't know exactly who she is. And then Wahlberg's daughter from the fourth one's not even in the fifth one. So I don't – whatever.
The Last Night.
Yeah. It's shorter, too. It's like a little above 2 hours. It's actually a decent length, not like 240 like Age of Extinction and Dark of the Moon.
Yeah, I don't think I saw Transformers after Shia LaBeouf wasn't in them anymore.
Shia LaBeouf.
Good old Shia. That could be a 2-hour conversation.
It's actually he was in a recent film where he was praised quite a bit. I haven't seen it, but I think he had to lose a lot of weight for it. What was the film? Do you know, Mike?
Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about, but
yeah, I think I saw like a few photos of it or something. I kind of had no idea what you're talking about.
Honey Boy.
Yeah,
that's it.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was it.
Yep.
Huh? I haven't even heard of it. Which phase is that in?
The multiverse of Marvel.
Where Shia LaBeouf is.
Oh no, that's so bad.
That's a Tony Stark. Shia LaBeouf is Tony Stark.
Shia LaBeouf became Shia LaDouche.
What? I like Shia LaBeouf.
I'm saying he became it. I liked him too. I liked like Disturbia and all those other movies he did, but I don't know what happened to him. He just.
I'm a fan of the song. Actually, I'm a fan of the song.
Digging up holes.
Have you seen Disturbia?
I love Disturbia. Yeah.
Jeremy?
No, I can't.
It's quite good.
It's a semi-quasi remake of Rear Window.
Yeah,
Worth a watch.
Eagle Eye?
Eagle Eye was good. I loved Eagle Eye.
Yeah, Eagle Eye's good too. He made a lot of good movies.
You know what happened to Shia LaBeouf? The Transformers happened to Shia LaBeouf.
You know what else happened to him though too? Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
I still have.
Oh, I forgot about that. Don't ruin
That's what I
the Indiana
keep
Jones
hearing,
series.
but I love Indiana Jones.
I am so thankful they're making another one because they need to make another one to the sour taste from that one.
What are they calling it?
Don't know yet.
You know what the problem is that Shia LaBeouf himself said that movie was like garbage.
And you know what?
And it wasn't a proper send off.
You know what surprised me too is that like he like threw Spielberg under the bus. And I'm like, dude, you don't throw a Hollywood legend under the bus.
Spielberg.
That's a career ender. What are you doing?
He's authentic to himself.
What's crazy to me
That's the way to put it. Yeah.
Is how all these Shia LaBeouf films are working their way into Marvel.
Shia LaBeouf retrospective.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
That'd be awesome.
Make him proud. Let's give him a call. Hey, can we get you on the Shia LaBeouf retrospective so we can talk to you about what happened to your career?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, rewinding things.
He would be the one to actually take us up on it.
He would.
Rewinding things back to Thor. I think. Can we rewind all the way back to Thor?
That was funny. All right, back to Thor. Anthony Hopkins, the legend.
Yeah, he's good. I want to talk about Captain America.
You want to go to Captain America?
It's my favorite Avenger, and the first one might be. It's not my favorite movie of all time, but I love Captain America.
Captain America is a very good movie.
I thought you were going to say you liked it better than Lord of the Rings. I would have been like, my jaw would have dropped to the damn floor.
No.
And
I mean, it's so much more modern. It's hard. It's getting hard to compare in terms of movies. Stories, no way. Lord of the Rings is just superior.
Epic.
Yeah.
I think Captain America is a great film. There's a lot of heart in it. I think Chris Evans plays the part perfectly.
I love Cap.
Me too.
Yeah. People will be surprised to know that actually the first Captain America is my favorite of the three.
Yeah.
Of the three Captain Americas?
Yeah.
His origin story is just so good. And they take a long time on it.
Yeah, and I like the fact it takes place in the 40s. I like the fact that Tommy Lee Jones is in it.
Yes, okay, yeah.
And I love the relationship with him and Peggy. That's a very, very, very close second to Pepper and Tony.
Yeah.
I applauded at the end of Endgame when I saw those two together dancing. I was like, finally, he gets his good ending. Finally.
In the theaters, you applauded?
I did. I did one of these. I
one of those guys, huh?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Hey, I applauded at the end of The Dark Knight Rises because when Bruce ended up being alive, I was like, thank God, because if the trilogy ends this way, I'm going to walk out pissed.
Gosh, I think you saw that movie with.
I
think you saw that movie with me in theaters again for the 5th time, Mike, and I think you still applauded at the end of it.
Which one? Which one? Endgame? Endgame?
Alistair doesn't know which one. He's just making a joke.
No.
Alistair's the trigger.
No, but
Alistair's found his niche, and it's unhelpful, funny comments.
What did Jeremy call it at the end of the sequel trilogy? He's called it the scruffy looking nerf herder of the.
Yeah.
So I will say I've mentioned to my wife before that I am most entertained by Spider-Man in Marvel, but I am most inspired by Captain America as a superhero.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's got some of my favorite lines, one of which is in Avengers when Natasha tells him, she's like, you can't go down there. They're practically gods. He's like, there's only one God, ma'am, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that. Just like
it's a great line.
He's America's hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great line.
I mean, the eventual corruption of Captain America is another story in and of itself. But I agree. I really appreciate where he comes from. I think they had a good cast of characters, and I know Hugo Weaving hates playing the evil German guy and everything he does, but he does.
Is that Elrond?
Yeah.
The Matrix, Mr. Smith.
He does a really good Red Skull.
My gosh. He does. I'm so sad that he did not come back for that after the first movie.
Yeah. Although I'll tell you, the guy they got to replace him in Endgame, Infinity War. He sounded looked just like them.
Well, so it was a CG rendering of Red Skull, and it was a voice actor imitating him. Yeah.
Why didn't he do it?
I think just what I said. He was tired of playing the evil German guy as a role.
He had some issues with Marvel too, though. I think.
Oh, did he? Okay.
I think so.
Interesting.
That's a discussion I want to have with you guys too. I want to ask you guys your opinions on Matrix 4, but we'll get into that one after this is over.
Fair enough.
But it's one of those movies. You're right, Dan. That because I like Tommy Lee Jones in the movie. Stanley Tucci is really good too. Hugo Weaving. I just like the cast and just the time period in this movie. Don't get me wrong. Winter Soldier and Civil War are excellent movies, but there's just something special about this one that the other two don't have that this one has.
I think Captain America has the best setup of a character.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
it's the best backstory of every single superhero.
When he dove on that grenade, I love that part.
Yeah.
I'll never stop loving that.
And
scene.
Interestingly, too, the end of Captain America, when he just crashes into the ice and he wakes up and Peggy Carter's gone. That was kind of a heartbreak for me as a viewer, because I really gravitate toward the relationships and things, and to have that to sit there and think, oh wow, that'll never happen, and there's just no way. It was kind of heartbreaking.
It was.
And then having him go back to watch her documentary and all that stuff, I really liked pretty much everything Captain America had to offer.
And that's why I applauded at the end of Endgame. That's why I did it, because that heartbreaking moment went out the window.
We were on the same page, and then you had to go bring I don't think I've ever applauded at a movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It takes a lot for me to applaud. I have to really feel it. And really, to be honest, for Star Wars being so loved of mine, I've never applauded at the end of a Star Wars movie, though. But you know what? The Goosebumps thing is close enough, I guess. I guess that kind of does it.
Did you cry?
I cry when?
Did you cry? Do you cry at the movies?
Surprisingly, the last movie I think I cried in when I watched was probably the movie Water for Elephants. Trolls 2. No, Water for Elephants, actually. Did you ever see that? With Robert Pattinson and Reese Witherspoon and Christoph Waltz from Inglourious Bastards?
Isn't that like 6 years old?
Yeah.
Wow. I cry at movies more often than you, I think.
I cry at movies like all the time.
Ours too.
There was something that I've seen recently that I did, and I don't remember what the hell it was now.
Was it not Endgame?
No. I applauded at the end of that.
I cried at Endgame.
Oh yeah, you and me both, man.
What's so funny, I saw that movie in theaters 3 times, and the first time I was emotional because of what had happened. The second time, I got emotional earlier because I knew what was coming.
Which part? Which scene?
I know what it is.
I think it was probably leading up to Tony Stark's self-sacrifice.
Oh, okay.
And I think what makes it so powerful at the end is because this is the culmination of the entirety of the 23 movie series.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and this is where it's come to. It started with Tony, it ends with Tony.
Yeah. And he's not even my favorite Avenger, but I love how they've all come together, because if you remember in Avengers, Cap is accusing Iron Man of not being the kind of guy to lay down on the barbed wire, and he's always like, well, I'd think my way out of it. I'd cut the barbed wire, or whatever his response is, I forget. But just this, he becomes someone that he was not even close to being early on. It was and the way they had that one song with those synth Cortana sounding instruments, that was such a great soundtrack.
I actually remember the last movie I cried for. Now I actually remember it. It's a movie that Alistair and I actually talked about on our favorites of last year.
See, Dan, Mike is only coming back now and saying that he's crying to feel like he's part of the group. We can't we can't give him this anymore because
sensitive guys came forward, and now Mike's coming out.
No, but seriously, no. The movie last year I saw was 5 Feet Apart.
I haven't heard of that one.
It's about cystic fibrosis.
I remember you talking about this one, Mike.
Yeah. About those two, I think that's what it is, right? When they can't get too close to them, they have that lung issue. I think it's cystic fibrosis.
Oh.
Yeah, when the one girl falls in love with the guy, they're in this facility together, and at the end of the movie, it ends really sad because she can't be with him because she's getting better and he's not. And that whole final scene was just heartbreaking. And I think now, especially with what's going on in the world now with this whole 6 feet apart thing, that movie rings pretty true now. And Jesus, now I'm even getting a little teary-eyed just thinking about it. It's sad, especially with the world being the way it is now. And they live like that every day.
I still want to watch that one.
The Nickelodeon or the Disney Channel kid?
Oh, Cole Sprouse? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's 28 years old.
Now, do you feel old now? Do you feel old?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm
The
definitely have to
Sweet
watch
Life
that
of Zach
movie,
and
Mike.
Cody. Did you guys ever watch that show?
Yes.
Zach and Cody? Yeah. Now I feel old because I watched that show 15 years ago. Now, holy shit, I'm old.
He's 28.
Yeah, he's 28.
See, here we
That's
go.
not old.
We've gone from Marvel to
28
Shia
years
LaBeouf back to Marvel. Now we're on to The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
This is the sweet life.
Yeah, so Marvel's Avenger.
Avengers.
Out of it. I am out of it today. Marvel's The Avengers. I don't think I had ever seen anything like that. When I try to think about these retrospectives, I always try and put myself in the place of when I watched it for the first time. And it was I just remember staying in the theater to see the after movie credit videos and just thinking what if there's a crossover? It was just such a big deal. It seems more or less that that's just how things are nowadays, especially with the amount of media that's getting put out there. But man, that was just so cool to have them all introduced and come together and argue and then fight together.
I think the goosebumps I got from the main Avengers theme when they're all going in the circle and it's just suddenly they're all fighting in the same team as a unit. That is the strongest inkling of goosebumps that I think I've ever gotten in a movie at that point in my life. It was the best.
That was 2012 Jeremy's dream.
Hey, you got to start somewhere.
Honestly, I think one of my favorite parts of the collaborative movies is how each character has their own role, and it's so obvious and distinct from the rest. Like Captain America becomes the strategy commander, telling people what to do and how to do it, and they're all splitting off in their own separate ways. And
I will say, I am saddened that we don't see more Clark Gregg in Like
who's Clark Gregg?
Phil Coulson.
Mm.
Like we see bits and pieces of him. He is one of my favorite characters in the entirety of the universe because of his wit and his quick humor. Yeah, like that. The face. It's just he's so great, and he knows how to handle these people. It's great.
First fight of the Marvel retrospective. I don't really care about Agent Coulson.
Oh boy!
Wow.
That might
be fighting words.
Hey, Alistair, you know what? I'm gonna move to the side. You want to join me and let these two just
well, no, I mean, I'm not gonna like fight against him because who the heck is he even? I'm just like. Okay. I like that he's the most consistent actor in Phase 1, and I like that he is a nice guy. But one of my disconnects was Agent Coulson was supposed to be the guy to bring them all together, and I didn't feel connected to him. Now, I never watched Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
No, I know what's going on in that show right now, and I am confused by what the heck they're even doing right now.
Okay. Because I muted Dan for the sake of, I didn't want to hear the argument.
What?
No, I didn't.
That's fair. But it wasn't a very good argument.
No, I understand why you don't feel as connected to Coulson. I feel like Coulson is what we all wanted to be. Like we wanted to.
I wanted to be Captain America.
Well, no. He aspired. He wanted to be Captain America. He looked up to superheroes, but he knew that he didn't have any powers, and he was doing what he could to bring these people together. You see little tidbits of him in the movies, in the first Iron Man, in Thor. Like he pulls the same stuff, but he is the same likable, funny character, but in a serious way. And then when he dies, it is painful for me.
Sure.
But he doesn't die.
Okay.
That's true.
He doesn't die, but they can't know that.
Okay, now my question to you is, how did they explain that? Because I saw the first episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when they showed him alive. But where is he hiding?
Some like brain thing, right?
He went to a place that they nicknamed Tahiti, and every single time that Tahiti was brought up, Agent Coulson would go, "Oh, it's a magical place." Like he was kind of brainwashed at this place because he didn't know exactly how he survived. It was something that was even above his pay grade. And it was like
it was a plan devised in a secret boardroom at
the
Disney
thing is,
Marvel Cinematic Universe.
What I love about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is that it actually ties in with the movies as the seasons go on.
See, that's compelling. I would watch it for that reason.
It's good up until...
So when does it start? Does it start right after Avengers then?
Yes, pretty close, it does. It does.
And is it still on?
It's ending this year.
Oh, it is ending. Okay.
Yeah.
Forever.
I will say the last season was kind of like I haven't watched it. I haven't kept up with it. But
they
the first
probably don't want
3 or
stuff
4
on
seasons
Netflix.
were pretty good.
Oh, wait till you know what's going on now. I read what's going on right now, and it's confusing as shit.
You get a better rapport with Coulson going into this too. I like Coulson in the show just as much as I do like him in the movies.
Mm-hmm. How do they explain him staying hidden, that he's alive from the Avengers all this time?
Maybe it's kind of like a Black Book S.H.I.E.L.D. thing, because then like the entirety of like even Captain America Civil War, or not Civil War, when
Hydra
takes over, when Winter Soldier happens, that actually happens in the show too.
So they dissolve Hydra / S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes, and it becomes like a new S.H.I.E.L.D., but it's a smaller group of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, basically.
Here's my question about Agent Coulson.
Mm-hmm.
Why did it take him from the beginning of Iron Man all the way till the end to realize that strategic homeland intervention, something logistics division spells out S.H.I.E.L.D.? Don't you think that'd be the first thing you'd realize?
It could have been. Yes. That is... Okay, Dan, I see where you're going with this.
No, that was just like Shield, and they had a joke, but you could tell it was a deconstruction instead of like an organic joke.
Mm-hmm. But if you didn't watch it, I would at least watch the first few seasons of Agents of Shield. It's a pretty good show.
Okay.
Cool.
I might have to do that now because I'm actually really curious to see the whole Coulson thing, how it plays out now.
After Clone Wars,
he's just as funny. He's even more funny in the show than he is in the movies.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
And anyway, back to Avengers, since Dan doesn't like talking about Coulson.
Yeah, no.
No, I
did see him yawn.
I'm yawning a lot. You're yawning too. I think I'm just tired for this one.
It's contagious.
We're also dealing with how many movies in one
6.
in one sitting.
We were overwhelmed with Star Wars, and we had to do 3 at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Those were a little easier though because they were more thing with their story. You know, it was one
right,
story.
a lot more linear.
Yeah, one story based thing. But yeah, I know the Avengers. You know, what's interesting here, and I've talked to some people that actually give the movie criticism, and it drives me nuts. So the biggest criticism I keep hearing from people is that, well, it doesn't, there has no like character development. And I'm like, there were 5 movies before it that were character development.
Right.
I mean,
right.
What do you want? Well, there's characters in there that don't. I said, well, wait. Hawkeye gets development as it goes on. Black Widow gets development as it goes on. They all get development as it goes.
Yeah.
You know, and Black Widow's finally getting her own movie.
The way I view those collabs is it's not necessarily, well, maybe this is considered character development, but it's relationship development.
Mm-hmm.
So the characters, and this is what I've liked, is the writers and directors have all played so nicely with one another, and they've prioritized continuity so much that you have an arrogant Thor and a maybe too humble, little bit full of himself Captain America dealing with Tony Stark, and just the relationships start to develop. So they don't really change as individuals, but I mean, what Stark sees in Avengers affects him for the rest of his story arc.
Yep.
I mean, he gets pretty solid PTSD if he didn't already have it from his, Afghanistan imprisonment. He gets pretty solid PTSD that is the main thing in 3 and is his main drive, I would say, for the rest of the franchise. And then I guess, I don't know. I feel like that's just a false claim.
I feel like the character development, it happens in a way of it's just establishing the relationships with the other heroes. It's not. It doesn't matter if you develop your relationship in this movie. That's how it's going to go. Like, you're going to be working on it throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the way that they act in the first Avengers is no way, shape, or form how they act in Endgame.
Oh no, they changed so much
differently. Like, they trust each other like completely in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Loki was kind of a bad guy because I don't feel like he did too much.
Besides, if there's one bad thing to take away from that negative thing, it's that Loki is just kind of a meh villain, especially since he already was a villain in Thor 1, so we kind of already had him as one, so it kind of felt like treading into familiar territory.
Yeah.
And effectively using an infinity or 2 Infinity Stones.
Yeah, 2.
At that point, it's just like, okay, well, there's a lot of potential, but you used Loki.
Thanos used the wrong guy as the wrong pawn in the game.
But that's probably kind of the point, though.
It is, yeah, right. I would agree.
Right. He's too conflicted of a villain.
Right. There's too much. There's too much. With relationship with Thor and everything, it's just he's all torn up inside to be, straight-minded with villainy.
Yep.
Yeah, he's not committed to it.
Exactly.
I don't know what else I have to say about Avengers. Like, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It speaks for itself. I mean.
So there's this one thing that Joss Whedon does that I've noticed. Is he has a really high-paid, noticeable extra that he over-focuses on. And I'm pretty sure Marvel's The Avengers. Maybe that's Avengers: Age of Ultron. Is it the blonde waitress, the girl from Step by Step, who then is interviewed in the news? I think that's her. I'll pull it up. You guys will know exactly who I'm talking about.
I'm not 100% sure. I'll know when I see the face.
Because he does this thing where there's like... Yeah, there we go. Her name is Beth.
Huh.
Can I screen share?
Yeah, go ahead.
Share screen. Oh, host disabled it.
Oh. Okay.
Well, that's not good. Let's see if... Okay, I'm going to make... I don't know how to do that.
That's all right.
Shoot.
It's just this tight... I mean, yeah, well... That's
you said Beth? I'll look it up and I'll screen share.
Yeah.
Beth Avengers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so it's funny because, like, when you know that she is in a couple of the scenes, she sees the Chitauri attacking.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and,
I see.
She's interviewed at the very end of the movie, too. You just notice that it, like, sticks on her, and you're like, high-paid extra. That always sticks out to me.
Okay, what can you guys see there? Can you guys see the picture?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I know who she is. So she actually played on Growing Pains as a child.
Was it Growing Pains or Step by Step?
It was Growing Pains. She was the daughter of the Seavers.
Yeah.
And actually, I'll give you a little note too for The Last of Us. She actually voices Ellie in The Last of Us.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Man, what a good game.
I like that they made a Lego version of her there. That's when you know you're a legitimate actress or actor.
Oh, for a thing? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
But
yeah, so Joss Whedon uses her a lot?
No. It's just in Avengers, when there's there's groups of unknown extras, it focuses on her, and she's like acting more than the rest of the extras and noticing the attack coming, or, you know. It's weird. When you watch it, I feel as though she sticks out.
Oh yeah, very much so.
And then he does it again in Age of Ultron, but it's been too long, so I don't know.
Good old Joss Whedon. Whenever I think of Joss Whedon, all I can think of is Firefly and Serenity.
Ooh, so good. I loved Firefly.
That was so short-lived. Those should have been on a very long time. But don't always get what we want.
For another day.
You either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain.
Okay, Harvey Dent.
That
could
was
you imagine?
If Firefly had 3 seasons, we'd be talking about that show that we hated. It went off the rails. It jumped the shark.
Hey,
could you imagine if Marvel took the same approach as The Dark Knight? Take every single one of the characters. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. The Avengers are the villains at the end of the MCU,
aren't they? Kind of. Did you see Civil War?
Well, if you go with people's philosophy of some people agree with Thanos' mission, I guess the Avengers could be perceived as the villains.
I guess so. What an anti-human
I've never agreed with it. You'll never get me to agree to that. No. No.
No?
No. I'll never agree with Thanos' philosophy. Nope. I will turn blue to convince you that that's wrong. I will. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a phase 3 debate.
Yes, it is.
Sure.
Yeah. Fair enough. But okay. So I mean.
So. Favorite movie, right? We got to do favorite movie.
That's right.
More importantly, we got to do favorite moment and least favorite moment. Those are some of my favorite things.
Okay. We'll do the favorite movie and least favorite movie first, and then we'll go.
Okay.
All right. Who wants to start off?
Not me.
Oh, definitely not me.
Ooh.
Well, Mike doesn't like to start, so I think I'll go. All right.
I'll let you start. I thought about it, but go ahead.
My favorite. It's almost too easy, but I think I'll have to say my favorite is Captain America.
Okay.
Is it Captain America more than Avengers? Yes, it's Captain America, and my least favorite is Incredible Hulk. Yeah.
I think we might all be in agreement with least favorite on that.
Incredible Hulk or Iron Man 2. I can't throw Iron Man 2 under the bus like that.
Oh no, you can't throw Iron Man 2 beneath Incredible Hulk. No way. No way.
They're my ratings.
It's got Scarlett Johansson in Iron Man 2. You cannot throw her below Incredible Hulk and Liv Tyler. I don't know. No. That'd be a crime. Anyway, all right, I'll go next. Why not? Well, I'll break tradition here. Favorite movie? Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with probably Captain America. I like Thor quite a bit, but
same.
Thor 3 is still my favorite of that trilogy. So I mean, it's, but yeah, Captain America. And then least favorite's easy. It's by a long shot Incredible Hulk.
Least favorite, Incredible Hulk, because I think. I'm wondering what Alistair is going to say when it gets after me, but favorite. Gosh, it's really close, but I think Captain America out of the Phase 1, I think Captain America is my favorite.
3 for 3, baby.
Oh boy, pressure's on, Al. Going for the perfect thing. We never had this before.
Least favorite, Hulk. Favorite, Captain America.
Yes.
Is that
true? Is that true though?
That's for real.
He's put under pressure. Peer pressure.
Nice.
Peer pressure.
I couldn't be more real if I tried.
We'll
So for the
believe
first time ever, we are in full agreement of favorite and least of a phase or a trilogy. Wow.
Okay, another round. Second favorite and least favorite.
That'll be interesting to do when we do all 23.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, rate them all.
We'll
Come
have
on,
a
rate.
whole episode
Oh,
for
boy.
that.
Okay, so favorite moment and least favorite moment. I know 6 movies, not easy to pick a favorite and a least. That's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, I think I'll go first. Get else time to think. Favorite moment, going back to it. Love when Steve Rogers dives on the grenade. I think that is such a Steve Rogers moment.
Heroic. Yeah.
He's still skinny.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Still skinny.
Yeah, that part of the
Tommy Lee Jones, man.
Least favorite, any romantic scenes between Thor and Jane.
You don't
Now
like the ceiling?
Wait a
I
minute.
see
Whoa.
you, Jeremy. I see you.
Now you sound like me on Lord of the Rings.
I happen to think it's pretty cute when they're on the roof talking about Norse myth together.
No.
Or rather, Marvel's.
No. It's just okay. So, are Asgardian women really that terrible that in 1,000 years you could not find someone you'd be attracted to?
Hey, I thought Sif was pretty hot. I don't know what was wrong with her. I mean, I'm looking around. He's looking at her, and I'm thinking, what the heck's wrong with her? She's right in front of you.
Oh,
She's a warrior. God. She's tough like you. What is the problem?
I think for him, it's about different. He wants something different than Asgardian culture and
puke.
No, I think he respects Jane's strength despite her weak mortal.
Her weakness, sure.
And so maybe he even applauds her mental fortitude as being greater than the Asgardians because she's so fragile as a human. I don't know.
Sounds patronizing to me.
Yeah.
I'm
just kidding.
Hey,
I didn't say that was my favorite relationship by any.
Hey, we'll be fair. We'll reserve the right till after Thor 4 to see how it all wraps itself up, to see how the relationship goes.
That works.
And then we'll, see how Takia Waititi writes their relationship.
Yeah.
No, I don't hate it. It's hard to find something I didn't like about these movies.
Yeah.
It's tough. It is tough. It is.
Least favorite moment, Liv Tyler and the Incredible Hulk.
Oh, come on.
Bravo, Jeremy.
I got Mike to clap. That's
such
My Lord of the Rings podcast self is applauding you right now.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Favorite moment? I think when oh my gosh, Alistair actually left. He actually left. Oh my gosh.
That's good.
You had me there. You did.
You had me at hello.
I think my favorite moment was when Iron Man like dons the full armor for the first time. You see all the gears and shifts and everything. I know it's and the music that goes with it. It's just so incredibly badass. You see this whole thing coming together, and I thought
it was pretty cool.
I think any moment when an AC/DC song comes on in those movies is just badass.
Dan's over there daydreaming.
I'm just trying to.
I'm gonna put a little thought bubble over his head.
There's too many favorite lines.
Yeah, well, so that's what I find. My favorite moments end up boiling down to lines, I guess.
Dialogue.
Another. Not even the sort of the jokes, I guess. Okay, so
dost mother know you weareth her drapes?
So my least favorite moment, and it's not so much a moment as it is just a thing or a theme. I think that Hemsworth overdoes it when he plays Thor in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like...
That's fair.
I don't know how to explain it. It just feels like he's trying too hard. Unless it's funny. Like when it's comedic, I like it. But that'll be my least favorite, I guess. Favorite moment... I don't know. It's either got to be when Captain America jumps out of the what do they call their plane? Oh my gosh, my brain's shutting down.
The jet.
Something wing or something.
I can't remember.
Yeah, losing it.
You're making me want to think of the damn jet from X-Men.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's what I was thinking of too.
Anyway, or a Pepper and Tony moment. I guess either when he's in the office with the strawberries or when they're up at his in his building in Avengers and like
I forgot
Coulson
about the
has
strawberry scene.
Yeah.
About that scene. The one thing I'm allergic to: strawberries.
Strawberries.
That's I forgot about that. That is a funny scene.
Or when she's sad when he comes back in the first one. Few Tears for Your Long Lost Boss. Just the way they riff. That's my favorite part is Pepper and Tony the whole way through.
Okay. Least favorite moment? Liv Tyler in The Incredible Hulk.
You guys.
I'll be kind. I'll say Betsy Ross in The Incredible Hulk.
Betty.
It's
Betty.
I'm gonna call her Betsy.
All right, I'll stay. I'll stay.
Betsy Ross is
Betsy.
is the seamstress that made the American flag. Isn't that true?
Well, you know what?
It's too similar.
Hey, Liv Tyler is that plane in The Incredible Hulk. It's like she came out of that.
I gotta look that up. Yeah,
I'm calling her Betsy Ross.
Elizabeth Griscom Ross, also known by her second and third married names, Aspirin and Claypool, the upholsterer who was credited by her relatives with making the first flag.
I'm going to take a moment here and say that if I ever said that name wrong in this entire episode, I am so sorry.
Yeah, did you? I think you said Betsy Ross too.
I think I did.
Turning over in her grave.
You both are so blinded by hatred for Liv Tyler that you can't even get her character names right.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, your history lesson of the day from Dan English.
Thank you.
Realistically, no, I won't say that's the least favorite moment because that's not even fair. No, least favorite moment.
I made him change it. Yes.
I mean, I don't like her performance at all. It's definitely
Baby
there.
steps.
Definitely there. I won't judge a performance per se for the least favorite, but no, I think probably my least favorite probably has to come out of probably the Incredible Hulk anyway, and it probably is just, I watch it now and knowing that Ruffalo plays that part, I just look at Edward Norton as a whole as just like, it's just
the moment
he
comes on screen.
It's just he's just meh. He's just he's plain. But so yeah, I'll go with maybe just Norton and Incredible Hulk. It's just too plain for me. And then probably favorite moment. Dang.
Your favorite moment is the opening moment when you see a shirtless Chris Evans on screen, right?
I actually saw in the extra materials that the actress that plays Agent Carter was actually shocked at how fit he was, and reaches out to touch him. They said that she was kind of like slipping out of character because she was like, "Oh my gosh, he's like a bodybuilder." I feel like a lot of that stuff's manufactured after the fact, but
probably
need to think about.
No, I think favorite moment. I think favorite moment actually probably is, in Avengers, just that moment, like Jeremy said, when they're all doing that. They're doing that circular camera shot when all the heroes are just kind of standing there, and Black Widow's, reloading her gun, and it just that whole moment with the camera flipping around and the music's just kind of coming through and all the attacks are around them. That's just that's an iconic moment of even the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
It's just a great scene.
I think that moment,
that one shot too of all of them is just. I remember that being awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that moment, that one cinematic moment, changed the entire film industry forever.
Oh, it did. No question about it, because a bar had been set. How to make a comic book movie? A bar had been set, and I don't think really. I mean, look at DC with Justice League. I mean, they failed. They failed. I mean, I am very curious to see that Snyder cut because I'm hearing a lot of good things about it. So I'll reserve judgment on Justice League till I see that version.
It's so interesting to me, though. J.J. Abrams gives this TED Talk about what makes movies, and he's talking about Jaws, and the scene that he actually talks about to capture what's so special about Jaws has nothing to do with the shark. It's when the guy is at the dinner table and he asks his son for a kiss, and he says, "Why?" And he says, "'Cause we need it so much," or something like that. And I think he nails it in that what makes Marvel so superior to DC is character development, which is ironic that you even brought it up as a criticism against it, because what you have is 5 plus the new introductions, well developed characters already progressing through their arc,
right,
interacting with one another in a way that is true to the characters that have been set up for them, in such a way that they even have ideological and, just they conflict with one another in ways that can only be possible if you know each character really well. And they know each other's stories, and they're going back and forth like, everything special about you came out of a bottle. What would you be without the suit? And they just those arguments are only possible on the foundation of the characters that they've developed.
Sure.
And when you look to DC, it's like, Batman, Superman, but Flash and Cyborg are introductions. And had they done the Wonder Woman standalone by then?
After when?
For Justice League.
Wonder Woman came after Justice League.
Okay, yeah. So 3 main characters you had never even seen before.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about the action. I think the action is important and it can take away from the movie or add to it, but the crux of it is going to be how you develop the characters and how they interact with one another.
I think the problem with Justice League was that it was too edgy. Everything was too edgy. There was a dark side component to everything about that movie.
Yeah.
I got bored with it.
It was too flashy. The movie was trying to be so busy and be all effects heavy, and I don't know why that movie felt the need to be like every single background was CG or green screened. I mean, they were in the freaking room where Bruce had all of his equipment in that garage, and I swear that the backgrounds in that scene were CG.
Yeah.
Why?
I will say though about that movie, Jesse Eisenberg plays a really good Lex Luthor.
It's not. You're being funny, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say the closest thing I'd give to him is that's like saying Kevin Spacey was a good Lex Luthor in Superman Returns.
Was he not?
No, Kevin Spacey. No.
See, now I know why. Now I know how Alistair has fun during these things. That was I tried both of you. You guys are like super serious.
First of all, it wasn't Lex Luthor. It was his nephew, right, or something like that, or his son.
For
Jesse Eisenberg wasn't Lex.
Oh no, he's Lex Luthor. No, he's Lex Luthor.
No.
I thought he was Zuckerberg.
Well, he was that too.
Thank you, Al.
No, really, to be honest with you, I haven't seen a good Lex Luthor since Smallville's Lex Luthor. He was a fantastic Lex Luthor, and every Lex Luthor since then is
Smallville Luthor was good.
He was fantastic.
He was good because you could believe that he and Superman would sometimes be on the same side of things.
Yep.
Okay. Wow. I guess he was Luthor. I must have thought that his Lex Luthor was so bad that he like pushed him off into like being someone else. I hated the scene where he like put the Jolly Rancher in the guy's mouth or whatever. I think what had happened was he was like, oh, Heath Ledger's career would have really taken off because of his performance as the Joker, and he tried to be the same thing, and it just fell on its face.
Yeah, I never. When that movie started, and he said he was Lex Luthor, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not.
I was excited. Yeah, I was excited because in everything else I loved Jesse Eisenberg up to that point.
I know that I haven't seen Smallville, but I think John Cryer plays a really good Lex Luthor in the Supergirl
He's not bad.
series.
He's not bad. Yeah, he I buy him more so than Spacey or Eisenberg. Way more.
Cool. I haven't gotten that far in Supergirl, but that's cool.
But anyways,
wow, what a tangent. We could not stay on topic to save our lives tonight.
Not today.
We're just giving previews of upcoming podcasts.
For next podcast, I'm going to have my notes. I'm going to have my favorites.
Yes.
I'm going to be a lot more together and a lot less yawny.
I think the title for this one should be Phase 1? Question mark?
Phase 1 with some other stuff.
Phase 1 plus.
Oh my gosh.
Plus other stuff. You want to hear about Shia LaBeouf and Sweet Life? You listen to it too.
We should somehow work Shia into every episode.
We're already doing that with It's Sticky, so
what a motif. Is that podcast that talks about sticky stuff all the time?
Scruffy looking nerve herder of the night, Alistair Englehart.
Al comes into these with his triggering words for everybody.
How should I do it tonight? Okay, well, on a final note, we'll got to go to our usual thing. What are your scores for the movies?
I respectfully refuse to score these.
What?
I tried at my last job. We had some Marvel fans, and my coworker cleverly asked me my least favorite one of the entire series, and I couldn't pick it.
It's incredible.
And so we tried to start scoring them. I had 5 categories with 5 subcategories per category that were like weighted points, and you could move your weighting, and it's too hard. I can't score them. That being said, Captain America 10, Thor 9, Marvel Avengers 10, Iron Man 9, Hulk 7, Iron Man 2 8.
See, you did it. Got it.
That's because I always sit around 10. 10 means, hey, I liked this. This is pretty good.
Hey, as long as you're not like Alistair and him giving Rise of Skywalker 5 and Solo a 5. So, I mean, it's...
I gave Rise of Skywalker 5.
Yeah, you 5, and then he gave Solo a 5.
Iron Man 7, Incredible Hulk 5, Iron Man 2 6, Thor 8, Avengers 9, Captain America 10.
I like that rating a lot.
I can't believe Incredible Hulk got a 5. Wait a minute. It's on par with Solo?
Yeah.
Different universe. Don't let him go around now.
No, if I had to go back and re-rate Solo, I'd probably rate Solo to 4 if I was comparing it against Hulk.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Iron Man.
Wow.
I'm gonna give that an 8. Incredible Hulk.
Would you say 7 for Iron Man, Al?
Yeah.
Disrespectful.
Incredible Hulk.
Disappointing.
I'll put Incredible Hulk as a 6 as a standalone. I'll do that.
Interesting. Okay.
Because I honestly, looking back at it, I don't consider it canon. I don't. Because it doesn't
it's
fit.
Not bad. It's not bad.
It's not bad, but it's not good in some ways too. Iron Man 2, 8. Thor, 8. Captain America, is a 9, and the Avengers is a 10.
You like Iron Man 2 better than Iron Man 1?
I put them at the same score.
Oh.
Yeah. Both of them were 8.
I have a short memory.
Okay. Iron Man.
Can you put in the description of this episode, put Dan is having an off day. Please forgive him.
Please forgive Dan's
It's a Monday. No, it's Tuesday.
Oh gosh, Alistair's having an off day.
Okay, Iron Man 1, 9. What's next? Incredible Hulk. Okay, I'll do what Jeremy did. As a standalone, 7.
10.
In continuity of the MCU, 5.
Fair. Just like Solo.
Yeah. Don't get me started on that one. Anyway, Iron Man 2, 8. Thor, 9. And the Avengers, 8.
Did you rate Captain America?
Yeah, you forgot
Captain America. Wow. Captain America's 10.
Yeah.
Compared to Hulk,
there it is.
Captain America was an afterthought to him, and he still rated it higher.
Hey, I saved the best for last.
Yeah. I do love period pieces, and the entire franchise as a whole is woefully lacking them.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I found so fun about Captain Marvel, despite being so depressed that the 90s are old enough for a period piece.
Yeah, that's... Yeah,
like you're like, oh yeah, Blockbuster. Oh yeah, Radio. Oh yeah, Real Big Fish. Or no, what was it? No Doubt. You're like, yeah.
I feel old when 21 years ago, the blockbusters of 1999 were The Phantom Menace and The Matrix.
The Matrix, yeah.
21 years ago. The Phantom Menace is 21 years old.
I wasn't. Wow. Yeah, that's right. Because I wasn't even in middle school when I saw The Matrix in theaters. Because my dad and brother went to see it, determined that I could see it, and then took me to the theaters for like my 10th birthday or something.
Nice.
Wow. It's a good 10th birthday.
Yeah, it was.
Matrix was pretty badass. But all right, so phase 2 will be next. The next 6 films. Did we say that was probably gonna be the most debated one?
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Since
so
Dan is going to come to a Thor's defense in Dark World.
What if we make next one not all of phase 2, but just Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and Avengers? and then we group up Ant-Man's and Guardians and Doctor
into phase 3? Or you
No, not into phase 3, but we add an episode.
Okay, so
basically pulling Ant-Man and Guardians out of phase 2 and taking those with their sequels respectively.
So basically doing like 2 episodes kind of around phase 3. Phase 3 will be basically part 1 and part 2 because phase 3 is so big.
Yeah.
Well, sure, but 2 of them will be from phase 2.
Yeah.
And then I might even advocate that we take Spider-Man. Well, maybe that's too much.
Okay. Yeah, that works. I mean, yeah, if we have to add one, we'll add one just so we can get them all in. Because I know phase 3 would be too long for 11 films. I mean, that would take us probably 4 hours to get through.
Yep.
At least. So, well, that's good. Pretty good debate tonight, guys. I'm pretty happy with that debate, and then I'm excited now for phase 2 because I think that Thor debate between me and Dan and Jeremy down there is going to be.
I forget. Are you a Thor 2 advocate, Mike?
I am a Thor 2 advocate.
Okay.
I am. I don't think Jeremy is at all.
I may have to rewatch it. Maybe I'll change my mind.
And Al, where do you stand down there?
Not a fan?
I think it is the nod.
I had to change my relationship status with Dan to it's complicated because of his ideals on Phil Coulson.
Is it Jane Foster that you don't like, Al?
No, I'm just being facetious.
Yeah, he's just yeah, it's fine. No, it's gonna be a good debate, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's gonna happen with that one. So, all right. Well, one more final announcement. I am pleased to announce that we are now on Spotify and TuneIn, and you guys don't know this yet, but we are pending on Pandora and iHeartRadio.
Ooh!
Wow!
Yeah, so
nice.
Maybe by our next podcast, we'll be on both those platforms too.
Crazy.
Nice.
So we are expanding. I'm excited.
That's exciting, Mike. Thanks for setting that up.
Yeah, no problem. Well, thank you guys, and we will see everybody on phase 2 or phase 2 and a little bit of extras, we'll say. All right. Everybody have a good night. We'll see you on phase 2.